So we're going to do the die cut demo inside of InDesign here. Sorry about the previous video, something happened. So what I want to do is I'm going to take those same files that we used to create the Studio Nuvo, and I'm going to redesign the card so that there is a die cut, and the die cut's going to be where we had the logo before on the back side of the page. I'm just going to cut out the Studio Nuvo, the Nuvo little symbols. Okay, so when we're designing these cards, we've got to think about the fact that it cuts through the front and the back. So when we're designing our page layout in InDesign, we need to think about, okay, so this side here is going to be this side here, right? When the card is flipped around. So what I did is I took that gray color and I lightened it up a bit. So I redesigned the card just a tiny bit. So let me go back to this. I'll just go here. Okay. So I took that Studio Nuvo, this one here that we had created. Let me go to my layers and front and the back. Here we go. Okay. So if you go into your layers, in my pages, I got my two pages, right? The front and the back of the business card. I redesigned and I brought that gray that we had along the bottom on the first one here, along this bottom. I brought it over and put it along the side, and I put I lightened it up. So I put a tint on it so that it lightened up. You can see when you select your colors in here, when you go into your colors, if you want to add a tint, I just reduced it down to 60%, the color. Okay, and I put it on this half of the card. Now, I broke the card up the same way we had done it in the video before, where I created the grid, and then I'm using the grid to separate the card. So when I'm thinking about that, I know that this, I'm going to count my grid. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 squares, and I'm going to come over here and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that this is the same size on both sides. And then what I did is I went back into the Illustrator file and I took these symbols individually from in Illustrator. So I went into Illustrator and I took that, it's closed out now. I took that Illustrator file that we had to work with, and I just captured each one of these in my libraries. So I grabbed each one of the symbols from the Studio Nuvo, here, 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 and here. Okay, and oops. What have I done here now? There we go. Okay. So I brought those in and I put them along the top, and I was able to mark them out this way here. I left the text all the same way as we designed it before, right? And I put the back the same way, and I added those Studio Nuvo there as well at the top. And then all you need is one side die cut when you talk to your printer, and you'll explain to him that you're looking for a die cut. So you need to create a die cut line, right? So with this Studio Nuvo, I broke it up into individual shapes. So each one of I took the text and separated it from the Studio Nuvo, and I put it here on one layer and on the front on this layer. And then what I did is I just converted each one of these shapes when I brought them on, when they were on the file, into stroke, a 1-point stroke. And I turned them a different color. So it was very easy. I just turned it into a magenta outline. And then in my layers panel, all I needed to do was create that as a die cut line. So when I click on this die cut line, you'll see that each one of these, this is the back, this is the front, and this is the die cut line. And the die cut line is this layer right here. So each one of these is on this die cut line. So you can see here, 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 and here. And all they are is I just created outlines of the shape, original shape, and then I separated the Studio Nuvo from them, and I put this as my die cut. And you can put it at the top. And then I have the back and the front of the card. Here's the front. You can see everything's on its own layer. And here's the back. If I highlight the back of the card here, oh, it doesn't click very easy. Right here, okay? So there's the back of my card. All right, and then I created this grouping of artwork here. So you can see there's my 3 pieces of artwork that I brought in from Illustrator. And I brought them in through the CC Libraries now that my CC Libraries is working. Now when I'm finished with this card, I'm gonna need to package it because of the fact that I brought these elements in from my CC Libraries. And I have this die cut line here, which you can talk to your printer, and I basically just left this one blank, okay? Because the die cut will punch through. Now it's gonna be backwards. I thought about that, and I was wondering if maybe I should just not put the Studio Nuvo here and just have, because it's gonna be backwards when you look at the card from the back. So it's quite possible that I might relook at this and say, okay, maybe take that away and take these characters here, whoops, sorry, take these characters that I added here and maybe bring them down, place them here on my card just below that die cut that would be above, okay? And then I could take my text, I could bring it up to here, like so, and then I'd have that die cut right here. Now if I want to preview my card, I just go up to view and I can go into my screen mode and I could go into preview. Now remember, this is a version of a 2-sided die cut. All you need to do is create 1-sided. So you just need to create this front side. You don't have to worry about the back side here and how things are going to relate. So you go into to view this, you go view, and then you can see it in screen mode. You can see normally it's in normal mode, which will have all your margins and guides. And then preview will show you your design as it would be printed. And you can see that this would be cut out from this design. Okay, now how do I give this to the printer? Okay, so you've already talked about the fact of what kind of paper you'd like to use, and you've discussed with him that you want this die cut done, this stamp out, punch out. So then what you can do, the bleed lines are the same. So I have this bleed line here and nothing else goes over the bleed line except for these 2 colors here. So that's all good. So what you need to do is package this file. So I'm going to go up to File and I'm going to go to Package. All right. So where do we go here? So File, Package. And then I'm going to look through here. I got 3 fonts. You can see I have no errors at the moment. So there's no overlapping text, and there shouldn't be because we don't need to pre-flight this so much because it's just a single business card. 3 fonts used. Okay. Everything looks good. Links, 8 links found. Okay. And then the fonts, Proxima Nova, and then here's that social regular true type font that I used, that this will convert, that 2018, it'll convert into PDF. So the one I grabbed in class didn't, but then I went and grabbed a different one from, I think it's called Social Media 2018 or something like that. And then all this is good. I checked my colors and inks. Everything's CMYK. Print settings. That's all good. External plugs, don't need to worry about that. So now I'm just going to package this up. Okay. So I'm going to package. It's going to ask me to save it. It's going to give me a warning about, so I've already saved it in here, but I'll save it into here again. And what I want to do is I want to make sure that I include a copy of the fonts, if there is any that are not part of Adobe fonts, copy links to graphics, update graphic links in package, right? Include an IDML file, include PDF for print. And then this is where I've chosen this PDF X1A 2001. So that's usually a pretty good standard one to pick. You can choose that one, or you could just go into high quality print and choose that one as well. But I've always been more successful just using this one here, this PDF X1A 2001. But you could ask your printer if he had a specific profile that you could use when you're exporting your PDFs for his print shop. So I'm going to package that. Now I already have one, so it's saying, well, do you want to do it again? So I'll just replace it. Now you can see here that's going to say this, or use this with another package in a different look here. Okay. So I can put a little, it's asking me to change it. So I'm going to put a 2 here. Package. And then it's going to ask you if everything is yours and you haven't ripped anything off. So you say, okay. And then there you go. So there's a warning on that, and that's those social media icons. But if I look at my final print PDF here, I guess I didn't have that saved. 1 second. Print production. Okay, so here it is here. So then here is the PDF. So what I have on here is my die cut line. Now this is a PDF for that he can open up in Illustrator, and he'll be able to see my die cut, this die cut line here. And sometimes it's actually even better to do it in some RGB color, like you could find a bright RGB color. Then there's no mistaking the fact that it's something different, it needs to be cut. But I'm already going to have words with my printer, and when he opens this up in Illustrator, he'll see that this is the die cut line that I want stamped out. Okay, and then you can see on the second page here, I got those icons that I was talking about. So they had to convert them from the round ones to these square ones. So we'd have to find ones that were round that fit this. Either you talk to Studio Nuvo and say that you need to purchase these icons, or you get them to send them in with the artwork for their company. Okay, and then you can see this sits here, and then the die cut will sit right here. These first set of bleed marks are the bleed marks for the right here. You can see that it's the die cut, or the trim marks are here, and the bleed marks are here. So this is for the bleed. You can see I've reached these bleed marks on both, and then this is the trim marks here. So these will be trimmed straight down from this line, straight across from this line, and the card will look like so, just like that. All right, so that's how you export and create a die cut inside the card. Now I'll show you how to create a die cut outside of the card. So we're going to create a poppy one with the die cut on the outside, which is a little bit more labor, and we're going to do it in Illustrator. All right, have a good day.